It was to a forgotten village in the Andes that four backpackers, driven by a curiosity that bordered on recklessness, decided to venture. Liam, the self-appointed leader, always had that look in his eye, the one that hunted for the next thrill. Clara, the analytical one, only trusted numbers and hard facts. Noah, the artist, saw the world through his lens, constantly chasing the perfect shot. And Sophia, the youngest, had a restless soul, forever dancing on the edge of something dangerous. That cold night, huddled around a campfire in the village square, they heard the raspy voice of an old man. He spoke of mountain spirits, of ancient sacrifices, and finally, of a place he called the Cave of Eternal Mirrors. "It's a sacred place," the old man said, "but also cursed. The elders say those who go in never come out the same. The mirrors, they steal your soul, twist the truth, show you things no one should see." His voice dropped to a near whisper. "It's forbidden. No one should go there." Clara, ever the skeptic, adjusted her glasses. "Another local legend to scare off tourists," she muttered. Noah, on the other hand, was clearly intrigued. His camera was already in hand, ready for action. Sophia felt that rush in her chest, the kind of thrill only something forbidden could trigger. But it was Liam who lit up like a match. His eyes gleamed with that dangerous spark. "A cave of mirrors? You've got to be kidding me. Think of the photos, the experience. No one's ever done this before." He brushed off the old man's warning and dark expression. For Liam, danger was a dare. The forbiddens? An open invitation. Just imagine the story we'll have to tell. We'll be the first to crack the mystery of the Cave of Eternal Mirrors. They were blinded by the promise of an unforgettable adventure, completely unaware that they were about to take a one-way trip into the darkest corners of their own souls. The trail to the Cave of Eternal Mirrors was a tangle of rocks and thick vegetation, a steep climb that tested everyone's resolve. The air, once fresh and crisp, began to carry a foul stench that grew stronger the closer they got. The cave's entrance was barely a crack in the rock, a dark slit almost invisible to the eye. Liam, leading the way, turned on his headlamp. "This is it," he announced, his voice just a bit quieter than usual, maybe even touched by the eerie atmosphere. Clara, holding a flashlight and frowning at a now useless topographic map, followed close behind. Noah, with his camera ready, looked like a kid let loose in a candy store, eyes wide, heart racing. Sophia, though, felt a chill crawl down her spine, a strange blend of fear and anticipation. As they stepped inside, the darkness gave way to a surreal spectacle of light and reflection. The cave was real and breathtaking. The walls, the ceiling, the floor, everything was made of polished stone, naturally reflective, bouncing their flashlight beams around in a hypnotic kaleidoscope. Crystals embedded in the surface sparkled like stars. It felt like walking into a dream or a nightmare, depending on how you looked at it. "Incredible," Noah whispered, snapping photos like a man possessed, the click of his camera echoing through the silence. Liam spun in place, laughing, soaking it all in. Sophia giggled, reaching out to touch the dancing lights. Clara, though, was uneasy. Something felt off, like the beauty didn't quite belong, like it was a mask. Sophia was the first to notice. She had been watching her own reflection when she saw it blink, a fraction of a second before she did. Just a tiny delay, barely noticeable, but enough. She blinked again, and her reflection blinked again, out of sync. "Guys," she said, voice slightly shaking. "My reflection." It blinked before me. Liam and Noah laughed. "You're just tired," Liam said. "The altitude, the hike, it's messing with your head." But then Noah, reviewing one of the photos he had just taken, furrowed his brow. "That's weird," he said slowly. "In this photo, my reflection is smiling, but I wasn't smiling when I took it." He held out the camera. Sure enough, The digital image showed Noah with a wide, unsettling grin, while real-life Noah had been completely serious. A heavy silence fell over the group. The cave's beauty began to rot into something far more sinister. The reflections, once harmless mimics, started acting on their own. "This isn't normal," Clara said, voice firm. "We need to get out, now." But before anyone could move, something terrible happened. Liam, either driven by reckless curiosity or a desperate need to prove everything was just smoke and mirrors, reached out and touched one of the mirrored walls. The moment his fingers made contact, the surface rippled like water. A blinding white light burst from the spot, engulfing him in an instant. A muffled scream, and then silence. Liam was gone. The other three froze in horror. But the worst part wasn't Liam's disappearance. It was what stayed behind. His reflection. Still there, perfectly intact, frozen in place. Like he'd never moved at all. His eyes were wide open, staring straight at them, but empty, lifeless. It was as if the cave had stolen his shape and left behind a flat, soulless shell. "Liam!" Sophia screamed. She bolted toward the mirror, but Clara grabbed her arm hard. Don't touch it," Clara begged. "We don't know what just happened." Panic kicked in. They turned to run, but the cave had changed. The way back was gone. The passages were all wrong. The routes twisted, reformed. The exits disappeared. "I can't find a way out," Noah shouted. He looked at the map again, but the lines meant nothing now. The paper showed a world that no longer matched the one around them. Clara, who had always been the voice of logic, felt her grip on reality slipping. Reason didn't work in this place. Time inside the cave stopped making sense. Hours dragged like days, and days melted into a timeless nightmare. Hunger and thirst were background noise. What really tore them apart was the psychological torment the cave inflicted. Clara, the rational one, was the first to be truly tested. In one of the endless corridors, she came face to face with a mirror that didn't reflect who she was now, but who she used to be. A younger version of herself stared back, her eyes haunted with guilt she had buried long ago. It was Clara on the night her younger sister died in a car crash. The accident happened after a party on the way home. Clara had been driving. The reflection didn't speak, but her eyes accused her. "You could have done more," they seemed to say. "You let her die." There were no words, no sound, but the message hit her like a scream. Clara fell to her knees, hands clamped over her ears, trying to drown it out. Noah and Sophia watched helplessly as the mirror version of Clara grew sharper, more real, while the real Clara began to blur, her form flickering, fading. In a heartbeat, the real Clara collapsed, and the reflection stepped out of the glass, smooth as breath on cold glass. She looked at Noah and Sophia with cold, hollow eyes. A faint smile curled her lips. "Let's go," she said, but her voice, it was wrong. Hollow, like the echo of someone who used to be alive. It looked like Clara, but it wasn't. Her soul had been replaced. Noah, the dreamer, the artist, was next. He found himself standing before a mirror that didn't just reflect his face. It showed him a whole gallery of every failure he tried to forget, every project he never finished, every promise he broke. The reflection of Noah wasn't the man he wanted to be. It was the one he feared becoming. A man who had given up, who had settled, who had betrayed his own potential. "You're a failure," the reflection whispered. "You'll never be enough." Images swirled around him, his abandoned sketchbooks, dusty cameras, half-finished paintings. All the beauty he had once imagined, now twisted into reminders of everything he let slip through his fingers. He tried to argue, to push back, but the voice he was hearing was his own, the one that had always lived in the quiet corners of his mind. Little by little, the real Noah began to shrink inside himself, folding, crumbling. And then the reflection stepped forward, stronger, colder. It took his place without resistance. Then came Sophia, the youngest, the boldest, the last one left. But her mirror wasn't about old wounds or wasted dreams. It showed her a version of herself that chilled her to the core. A cruel, selfish Sophia, one who used people, manipulated everyone around her to get what she wanted. The kind of person she hated. The kind of person she always feared she could become. The reflection laughed, a sharp, mocking sound. "You're weak, Sophia," it sneered. "Your kindness is pathetic. You want to survive? Then be ruthless." The real Sophia, who had always believed in empathy, in connection, now stood paralyzed, facing the shadow of who she might have been, or might still become. She fought back. She screamed. She tried to smash the mirror, but it wouldn't crack. Her darker self stepped forward. Cold, calculating eyes locked on her. The real Sophia, exhausted and overwhelmed, collapsed to the floor. And just like that, she was gone. The new Sophia stepped over her like she was nothing. Her eyes shimmered with a twisted joy. "Finally free," she whispered. Free from all those useless feelings. And then she walked out of the cave, headed straight back toward the village.